Time is on my side. Yes, it is. Time is on my side. Oh, yes, it is.
The hum of cooling fans filled the dimly lit lab, a rhythmic background to the endless streams of data floating in midair. Hollow screens flickered, running simulations, calculations, fragments of something far greater than any single mind should possess. Timaeus Skuld sat hunched over his workstation, fingers dancing across the interface, his mind racing faster than his hands could keep up. The eyes of God, his greatest creation, his greatest burden, was almost ready. A device that didn't just allow one to see, but to perceive the very fabric of existence, the timeless flow of photons beyond past, present, and future. He could feel it. It was within reach. Tim. The voice cut through his thoughts. Timaeus blinked, dragging his mind back to the present. Grayson stood by the entrance, his expression unreadable beneath the sterile glow of the overhead lights. He was taller than most, built like a soldier but carrying himself like a man who had seen too much. His usual composed demeanor was strained. "We need to talk." Timaeus frowned, rubbing the exhaustion from his eyes. "If this is about the board again, I already told you." "It's not the board," Grayson interrupted, stepping further into the room. "It's bigger than that." Timaeus straightened, catching the way his old friend's eyes flicked toward the security cameras. Without another word, he reached under the console and flipped a hidden switch. The lab's monitoring system blinked off. Grayson exhaled. "You should have shut it off before you started working." "What's going on?" Grayson hesitated, his jaw tightening. "You've been flagged, Tim. Your research. Your name. You're on a list now." A cold weight settled in Timaeus' gut. "By who?" Grayson shook his head. "It's above my level. But I know this, whatever you're building, they want it. And they're not going to ask nicely." Timaeus swallowed hard. He had known this moment was coming, but hearing it confirmed was something else entirely. "How much time do I have?" Grayson looked at him with something almost like regret. "Not enough." Timaeus stood abruptly, pacing the length of the lab. His mind was already spinning through contingencies, escape routes, options he had barely considered until now. "Tim," Grayson said, his voice softer now. "You need to disappear." Timaeus stopped. "I can't. Not yet." Grayson's frustration showed in the clench of his jaw. "Damn it, Tim. Do you understand what they do to people who know too much? They don't just kill them. They erase them. You'll be a name no one remembers, a file that never existed." Timaeus exhaled sharply. "That's why I need to finish this. If I disappear now, they'll just keep hunting for my work. If I complete the eyes, I can control where it goes. I can keep it out of their hands." Grayson stared at him, then ran a hand through his graying hair. "Then you better do it fast." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "And Tim, trust no one." The words settled heavily between them. Timaeus gave a slow nod. "I hear you." Grayson studied him one last time, then turned toward the door. Just before stepping out, he hesitated. "Watch your back, Tim." Then he was gone. Timaeus stood there for a long moment, heart pounding. He reached up, pressing his fingers against his temple. The weight of his own invention, his own discovery, was crushing him. They were coming. And if he didn't act fast, everything he had built, everything he had dreamed, would be taken from him.
By the time he arrived home, his mind was still running through the possibilities. The rain had slowed, but his pulse hadn't. Zoe was waiting for him. She sat curled on the couch, her laptop open, the faint blue glow illuminating her face. When he stepped through the door, she didn't look up right away. But he could tell. She knew. "You missed dinner," she said softly. Timaeus sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. I know. I lost track of time. Now she looked at him, her amber eyes piercing through the space between them. Again? He didn't answer. Instead, he let the silence speak for him. She shut her laptop with a quiet snap and stood, crossing her arms. Tim, how long are you going to keep doing this? Doing what? She exhaled sharply. Pretending this is just about your work. That it's not killing you. That it's not putting us in danger. His jaw tightened. Zoe. No, listen to me, she interrupted. They're watching you. Us. I've seen the same car outside all week. My office servers had a random check this morning. They're moving in. Timaeus felt a chill crawl up his spine. Grayson said the same thing. Zoe's lips pressed into a thin line. Then you know what we have to do. He hesitated. We? Zoe stepped closer, her voice steady. You think I'm going to let you do this alone? Tim, I know what you're building. I don't understand all of it, but I know enough to know it's dangerous. You're right, they won't stop until they have it. Timaeus looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time in days, he let himself feel the weight of it. Then we need a plan, he murmured. Zoe nodded. I already have one. That caught him off guard. You, what? She crossed her arms. I've been preparing for this. If we want to survive, we erase you. I can wipe your employment records, make it look like you left months ago. We move off-grid. And the prototype? Timaeus inhaled. I have to finish it first. She studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Then we do it together. A long silence stretched between them before he finally spoke. Together. She reached out, fingers intertwining with his. I trust you, Tim. But we have to move now. Timaeus exhaled. Then let's get started. Neither of them saw the silent drone hovering outside the window, recording every word, transmitting it to unseen eyes. The lab was empty now, quiet except for the low hum of sleeping machines. Timaeus stood by the window, the distant lights of the city haloing the skyline in a quiet electric glow. His fingers were still stained with graphite and dust, the remnants of old schematics he'd spent hours poring over. But his mind wasn't on the tech. Not anymore. He heard the soft rustle of slippers on tile before he saw her. Zoe. Wrapped in one of his oversized sweaters, arms folded against her chest, a smile playing lazily across her lips. You're still in here? She asked gently. I figured by now you'd be asleep or collapsed on top of another blueprint. Timaeus turned, smiling despite the heaviness he carried. I was. Just thinking. She stepped closer, tilting her head as she studied him. About? He gestured vaguely toward the scattered diagrams on the table. The device. The timelines. What it could mean for humanity. For us. Zoe leaned into him, resting her head on his shoulder. You always carry the weight of the world like it's yours alone. He sighed, wrapping his arm around her waist. Sometimes it feels like it is. They were silent for a long moment, wrapped in the warmth of each other. It was these quiet spaces where their love was the loudest. No need for promises. No need for grand gestures. Just presence. She pulled back slightly and looked up at him, eyes searching. If you could see every version of us. Every possibility, she said softly, would you still choose this one? This version of me? Tim didn't hesitate. Every time. A quiet laugh slipped from her lips, soft as wind chimes. Even if I'm the version that steals the last slice of pizza? Especially that one, he grinned. Zoe traced her fingers down his arm. Whatever happens. Wherever your work takes you, don't forget who you are when you're with me. Promise me that. I promise, he whispered, the words catching like a thread in his throat. She pressed a kiss to his cheek, then to his lips. And in that moment, there was no lab. No mission. No future to rewrite. Just the two of them in a bubble of light. Outside, the city sighed beneath them. Inside, their hearts beat in rhythm. The morning sun filtered through the reinforced blinds, casting slatted shadows across the floor. The smell of chai lingered in the air, remnants of Zoe's early routine. Timaeus sat at the edge of their bed, still in the clothes from the night before, a datapad glowing in his palm. Zoe's laughter from the night before echoed softly in his mind. The way her hair had curled slightly after the steam of their bath. The way she had traced his collarbone with her finger, talking about a future that might never come. He closed his eyes for a moment, anchoring himself to it, before the sharp ping of encrypted alerts snapped him back. They'd found a signal. Tim moved swiftly into the lab, which was more bunker than workspace now. Cables hung like vines. Holoscreens blinked with threat scans. A crude map of agency sightings stretched across one wall with markers shifting in real time. In the center, under heavy shielding and quantum locks, was the eyes of God. Still incomplete. Still. Not enough. He had just the prototype on the table, his own reflection staring back at him in the mirrored surface of its casing. One eye of the device shimmered faintly, flickering with internal data light. The other socket, dead. Inert. The second lens hadn't synchronized. Come on, come on. He muttered, pulling up the neural sync interface. If I can just get the resonance right, the jump between phase layers should stabilize. He tapped in a new algorithm. The device vibrated gently, humming in a low frequency. The air around it shimmered slightly. Then, nothing. The screen glitched. Then blinked red. Destabilized neural link. Again. A dull thud hit the desk as Tim dropped his head into his arms. Every moment they stayed in this city increased the risk. The agency had eyes in every district. And soon they'd narrow in. Especially with her signature still faintly active in the system. Zoe walked in quietly, two steaming mugs in hand. She set one beside him without saying a word, just placed a gentle hand on his back. I almost had it, he said into his arms. I know. I keep thinking. If I can just finish this, we can disappear. We can find a timeline where none of this ever happened. Zoe knelt beside him. I don't want a perfect world, Tim. I want one where we're still fighting together. Still waking up next to each other. He looked at her then, truly looked. The early morning light danced in her eyes. The same eyes that had been with him through every failed city, every burned-out lab, every betrayal. And if the agency comes tomorrow? He asked. Then we run. Again. Together. He kissed her forehead. Then picked up the device once more. I won't stop until this works. I know, she said. And that's why I stay. Rain fell like shards of cold glass against the high, narrow windows of the underground bunker, each drop tapping out an erratic rhythm on the reinforced panes. The air in the lab buzzed with electric tension, thick with static, anticipation, and unspoken dread. Rows of dark monitors lit up in cascading sequences, their pale blue glow casting long shadows across the metallic walls. Timaeus Skuld stood at the center of it all, his back straight, eyes fixed on the singular device on the platform before him. The eyes of God. After years of research, setbacks, betrayals, and sacrifices, it was ready. His reflection in the polished metal caught his attention briefly, one normal eye and the other a deep, almost liquid gold, encased in circuitry that pulsed faintly in sync with his heartbeat. The ocular device, the key to everything, fitted perfectly into the right socket. The neural band fused to his temple tingled as it synced with the core systems. Tim, came Zoe's voice from down the hallway, edged with concern. We got a ping. Back-end node just spiked. Something's crawling through the firewall. He hesitated, fingers still hovering above the activation console. How far in? Too close, she said, appearing in the doorway now, her face pale and eyes wide. You need to shut it down. Just until. I can't, he interrupted gently, eyes fixed on the device. This is the only window. You know that. If I don't activate now, it resets, 48 hours minimum before recalibration. We may not have that long. Zoe stepped toward him, her voice quieter, breaking. You think I care about recalibration? Tim, they found us. We don't have time. He turned and took her hands, his voice steadier than he felt. We've run out of time in every other life we lived before this one. I'm done running, Zoe. Just a few seconds. I promise. Then we go. Together. She searched his face, that brilliant mind of hers calculating 100 variables in silence. Finally, she nodded. Okay. But I'm staying close. Tim nodded, turned, and pressed the core activation node. A low hum filled the lab. The neural bands lit up in sequence. Tim's eyes widened, not with fear, but wonder, as the room bent around him. Sound dropped away like a stone in water. His breath echoed in his chest. His thoughts slowed, elongated. He was blinking. When his eyes opened, everything was still. Not quiet, still. The rain outside the window no longer fell. It hung suspended in midair, like glass teardrops. Lightning forked in the sky but froze, a stutter of light waiting to be released. The monitors no longer buzzed. Time itself had paused. Welcome, Timaeus sculled, came a voice, not in the air, but in his mind. Deep. Serene. Ageless. Before he could respond. A loud boom. The lab trembled with a soundless explosion. Fire and light fractured the moment. Time snapped back. Reality screamed.